this morning.
Oh,
Thinking about moving to Long Island, New York, or just want to know what it's like there? This is the episode for you. We have Megan Gardner sitting right there in Long Island in her home right here. You can see her. Say hi real quick before I move on.
hello.
This is Wanna Move There, the show dedicated to giving Central Pennsylvanians the information they need to decide whether or not they want to move to a place outside of the area. I am your host, Derek Bicksler, realtor of 15 years. I grew up on the hill in Harrisburg, went to Mechanicsburg High School, go Wildcats, and went up to Penn College of Technology in Williamsport, where the Little League World Series is, if you didn't know that, Megan. We always were very annoyed by it because it was like the same week as move-in week, and we were over it, so it just junked up the works and everything. But I went up there. Then I had a few sales jobs before I started selling real estate 15 glorious years ago. Hit me up if you need to buy or sell a home. You can call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. We still need inventory pretty bad, but it is a little bit better for buyers, and Megan can tell us later what it's like there. A reminder that replays are available on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and iTunes and Spotify and all the audio places. So anywhere you like to get your content, you can't miss it. Find it there. I missed one. I thought I missed one. Whether you're watching live or on a replay, please throw a question in the comments. A question hopefully about Long Island. If we don't see it while we're going, we will come back and answer it later. Or if you just want to say hi to one of us, if you know us, please say hi and say where you're watching from. And now, without further ado, Megan, say hi to everybody and tell everybody the last movie you watched while I find your bio to read.
All right. Well, hello, everyone in Central PA. It's Megan Gardner coming to you from beautiful Long Island, New York. I have to say, the last movie that I watched was The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm still trying to get over it.
That's a series, right?
It is a series, yeah. It kind of felt like a movie to me, so.
Yeah. It's a miniseries maybe on Hulu or Netflix?
It's Hulu, and so what I do is I just watch a bunch of episodes in a row. I'll save it up for when I have a little downtime, and I'll just binge watch it, and it's terrifying, but I can't not look.
Nice. Do you like that type of show in general?
I
Like
don't,
a dark?
which is why it's surprising that this really just grabbed my attention.
Yeah, that's fun. So what would be a typical thing you would watch?
Okay, so I'm addicted to the Great British Baking Show. That's on Food Network, Food TV, and then we can stream it also. For some reason, I watch that with my older son, who's at college right now, but we love watching that show. Anything on the Food Channel, and also really into like biographies and anything having to do with like astronomy, kind of science, nature. Oh, and I
nice.
can't forget The Housewives on Bravo. I mean, that's
all the Housewives. My favorite is Atlanta. I was forced to watch these with my ex, and I like the Atlanta ones. But what's your favorite?
I mean, clearly New York, being from Long Island.
Is Long Island specifically the New York one?
They're actually all New York City housewives.
Okay.
But that being said, we all can relate here because we're so easily we can get into New York City. So when they're going through their trials and tribulations in the city, we can relate.
You could run into one if you wanted to.
I mean, that is my dream. I clearly want to meet Bethany and so many others, but
You can meet them, and I'll head down to visit Glenda, and I can meet Nene and whoever else is down there on that
absolutely.
one. That's hilarious. I don't watch it anymore, I will say. That was an ex, and I haven't seen an episode since, but that was my favorite for sure. And I can't say that I didn't get vested after a few episodes of anything. You kind of want to see what happens and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But you grew up in Long Island, so you're born and raised there. You went to the Academy of St. Joseph, and then you went to St. Lawrence University for English, literature, and fine arts. Your favorite color is a tie between BTWN. She schooled me on a new acronym, the new text shortcuts. A tie between red and blue. So I asked if purple was in there, since the mix would be purple possibly. But no, it's red. Used to be red. Now it's kind of blue. And I'm kind of similar. I mentioned to you, I like liked red, and it's still my official. If you ask me, official first best color, it's going to be red, but sky blue is the second. And then favorite food, chocolate chip cookies. That's great there. I'm sure you see a lot of that on the British baking show, Bake Off baking show.
Great British Baking Show. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. I have watched it. You don't have any pets. You do have 2 kids, 2 boys. And you're not married, and you have lots of hobbies here: walking, baking, cooking, gluten-free. Is that because you have to or because you want to?
So, because I have to. I am not gluten-free myself. My younger son is gluten-free. So we just kind of all in the household end up eating that way. And, we've been doing it for so long. I think since he was like 2 or 3, he went gluten-free. He was actually gluten, dairy, corn, and soy. And we were able to add all the other ones back in after a few years. And now it's just gluten. So we kind of all end up eating that way. And it seems more easier and more natural to me.
Yeah, that's
great. Don't
great.
get me wrong. I mean, I will take my bread and butter and pizza like any day.
Yeah, and we shouldn't all be eating starchy pasta and breads all day anyway. So if you keep it to a minimum and most of it's gluten-free, that's great.
Yeah.
You're also a special needs mom, and you do consulting and research in the area, and we can talk about that a little bit. And you're a board member of the ACLD, which I'm guessing is associated with that, is the leading agency for LI serving the See, I didn't even read this. I told you I should have read this beforehand.
Okay.
Leading agency on LI serving the developmentally disabled. Developmentally is a hard word to say. And that's the end of your bio here. And I'm kind of confused here because I'm reading a different one than I usually read. So tell me a little bit about the special needs. One of your sons is special need. That's obviously how you got into it.
Absolutely. So my younger son, Brian, who is now 17, is autistic. He was diagnosed probably around 2 years old, although around 15 months, we definitely knew something had gone awry there.
How? How did you know?
So he lost developmental milestones. So he was typical. He was progressing. And then we started to see a decline.
Around when?
I noticed it shortly after 12 months. So between that 12 to 15 month period, it was a very steep decline. So
is that typical?
Months, it's different.
Sorry for interjecting. I'm imagining somebody watching that might want to know this, and now I want to give them a little bit of information. So sorry, go ahead.
No, and you know what? I love talking about this, and I love sharing my story, and it's part of the reasons why I have my side gig as consulting. Because I never want another parent to go through what I went through. All the lessons I learned, all the mistakes I made, I want to pass that along so I can counsel parents and say, hey, this is what I went through. Would you consider maybe looking into these 15 things? And then they can take the ball and run with it. So it's not typical for a child's development to either slow down or disintegrate at any particular point. I think you will, in the world of autism, you'll generally see most kids between 12 and 15 months. You'll see the change starting to happen then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then what? They're not talking by then, right? Especially if they're having a switch. So what are the actual signs? Like what? And is it different in each case, or is it kind of the same thing every time?
Different in each case. I mean, I can speak specifically for my son. He started to withdraw, but to an extreme point. So he would get out of his crib in the morning, and then he was at the point where all he wanted to do was crawl under the kitchen table and lie under the kitchen table with his blanket. So his disinterest in playing with toys, just his overall, he didn't want to go in the backyard. He didn't want to go out in the car. So we really experienced an extreme regression. For some children, you could see something a little slight. So you might see something that we call a sensory issue. It could be eating. So they could suddenly decide, like, I can't eat fruits and vegetables anymore, or crunchy foods upset them. Or I even know children sometimes all of a sudden they can't stand the feeling of water on their body. Taking a bath or a shower becomes a painful experience for them. Some children flap their arms or spin, and there's reasons why they do that. I love talking about that. What causes that change and why is that happening? And then how can you fix it? And then again, language. Yep, language is a big indicator as well.
So you mentioned withdrawal, which I've definitely heard before. And that's probably the case with a lot of different ailments and disabilities that kind of, if you're different in any way, you're going to withdraw. And plus, with that as part of it. And then control, I guess, having control of yourself is part of the flailing or that part of it. And then the sensory thing you mentioned. So those are some signs that people can obviously watch out for. Are there other things that people can watch out for? And then what can they do when they see these signs, which was going to be my next question. What did you do? Did you go to the doctor and say, I think they're autistic? Or did you go and say, what's wrong? Or how did that go?
Yeah. So another great sign to look out for is, keep a very sharp eye on your child's immune system, and also just watch how they're processing their food. If they're constantly not processing their food normally, that is a big sign that there's something going wrong with their immune system, which actually triggers these kind of what we call autistic symptoms. So one rule of thumb, every behavior is a communication, and you as a parent need to stop, take a step back and look at that behavior and say, what is this child telling me? For instance, if you see a child who is aggressive or seeming uncomfortable, and you see them lying on the floor a lot or bending over a table, you know what they're telling you? My stomach hurts. They're trying to put pressure on their abdomen. They're in pain. If a child's banging their head against a wall, it's not because they think it's fun, and it's not because they're crazy. It's because their brain is inflamed and they need to release the pressure.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful, because we would all probably think the opposite of it. And I'm sure long ago they probably did think the opposite of it, and these kids got treated probably in the wrong way, I guess. When do you think well, let's not get into that. But I do want to plug, before we move on, the work that you do, the whatever organizations you might want to plug, or how to reach out to you about this if people want to learn more and talk about it or anything.
Thank you so much for that opportunity. So I'm on the board of directors with ACLD, Adults and Children with Learning and Developmental Disabilities. They're the leading provider on Long Island. They provide services for children through preschool all the way through their adulthood. So they run a preschool, they run after-school programs. Then as you become an adult, they have day programs, they have supported employment opportunities, they have independent living and group homes. So it's the gamut. And they are amazing. My son went to their preschool, and that's how I became associated with the organization. And it has just been a true blessing to me and my boys. So it's an honor to be able to serve with them.
That's great. And I'm sure if people are here or anywhere around the world that might be watching it, if you just have questions or need some direction or what should I do, I'm sure Megan would be happy to help. Her number and everywhere you can look. I try to plaster it everywhere so people can't miss it. So what were you like when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were younger?
Okay, so when I was younger, I was obsessed with the planets and the solar system. I used to go to the library, our local library, and we used to have a big old clunky photocopy machine you put a dime in. And I used to take books and I would photocopy Jupiter and Saturn, and I would come home and hang them up on my wall.
Those are the ones with the rings, right?
Yeah, Saturn has the rings, absolutely.
Does Jupiter also? There's another one that has rings too, right?
So I think it's Uranus. I'm not sure. They have a much smaller set of rings, but it is Saturn has the rings, and then Jupiter has the big red spot, that big storm.
Gotcha. Yeah. You get along with my daughter Piper. She loves space. She loves planets, and she's always at, what's your favorite planet? What's your favorite? Hers is the one with the rings, which I said, I think I told her Neptune the other day. I was like, I just Googled it. Planets with rings. Saturn, it doesn't look like any of the others do. Why did I think there was another bigger one?
I think there is, but we'll have to double check. They probably all do. I mean, we don't really know all there is to know, right?
Right, this is true. Or maybe, yeah, they all definitely have some kind of particles floating around them or something.
That's right.
That's cool. So you like space? Were you in like space camp? What did you do? Anything related to it?
No, so I didn't. I remember telling my teacher in sixth grade, I'm going to be the first woman to go to the moon. And she was like, you can do it. You can do it. Now, I don't know what happened. And as I became older, I kind of lost my interest in that. But now as I'm older, it's interesting. I've kind of picked up on this interest in astrology, right? So that also involves the planets. So lots to learn there as well.
So like signs and like that kind of stuff, like horoscopes and that kind of thing?
Yes. So
Tell me something about that, or if you can read me or anything you can do with this. This is fun.
Absolutely. So I am learning right now in the process of learning more about astrology, but I have come to realize as I get older that I definitely have, right, a deep intuition, a little bit of a psychic ability. I think we all do. So I'm just kind of exploring mine. So there are times when I can do readings on people if they let me practice on them. I'll get a little bit of information from the other side. But in terms of astrology, so you want to know what your sun sign is. So the month that you were born, and you can look up and find your sun sign, and that's supposed to be your outward persona. And then you want to couple that with your
What's yours?
Sign. I'm a Scorpio.
What month is that?
So that's October 23rd, I think, through November 23rd.
Okay.
Love my sign. Love it. And funny, my sign is the shape of it, the symbol's an M, and I'm a Megan. So it all melts. So what they
I'm
do
a Virgo.
is
Do we match? Is there like a match kind of thing?
I'm a Virgo rising. So I'm a Scorpio sun, an Aquarius moon, and a Virgo rising.
So there's 3 that we all need to have. There's not just this one that everybody thinks.
Correct. So, and you can actually go online if you find out the time that you were born, where you were born, and the date, and you plug it in. They'll tell you what your sun, moon, and rising sign are.
Oh, that's why you said your sun sign before. So there's a moon sign. I get it. No idea. So we all just learned something about signs.
Exactly. I just did as well. So I'm trying to figure that out all myself. But we all feel it, right? When there's a full moon or a new moon or there's a Mercury retrograde. We always talk about the Mercury retrograde where the communications go haywire. So, at the end of the day, right, we're all connected. We're all energy. There's got to be something a little to this.
Yeah, totally. Why not? And the more you read about it and get into it, the more you're open to more of it, I'm sure. I'm just trying to find what you were studying. So after high school, well, first in high school, did you play any sports? Were you in band? Did you do any debate club, any of that kind of stuff?
I did not play sports. I was kind of good at tennis, but I'm not a super coordinated person. So kind of like the walking, running, tennis is super fun. That's kind of my thing.
Nice. And then you went to college for fine arts and English literature.
Yes.
Literature is one thing, but then is the fine arts part of it, like painting and that kind of thing?
Great question. So I started off in college. I was an English lit major. It was a liberal arts school. Loved my college. Go Saints. And I really wasn't.
Where is it located?
Sure. It's in Canton, New York. So upstate New York, about 3 hours
in the mountains?
west of Albany, through the mountains. Yep.
Nice.
Close to Canada. Really easy to run into Canada, get that Canadian beer and bring it back. It's all good.
That's why you went there.
It's a great school, great town. I was so grateful for the opportunity. I was able to go there. My older brother was there and my older sister, and I was blessed. So grateful to my parents for giving me the opportunity to be able to go away to school and be with family. And it was wonderful. So
That's
being
awesome.
said, I studied
And you were painting?
I'm not. So I wasn't painting. I studied fine arts. I was an English lit major, wasn't quite sure, what I wanted to do with my life, but I was always interested, kind of this background interest in the fine and decorative arts. So I decided, it was a little too late when I realized that. So I just took as many art history courses as I could. I remember I did one independent class and I wrote a research paper on Fabergé eggs. It just was fascinating to me. And interestingly enough, after I graduated from college, I had one or two jobs in between, and then I ended up working at Sotheby's auction house in New York City, which was just amazing. I mean, an amazing experience all the way.
Do they have different departments? Because I know they sell everything under the sun for the most part. So how does that work?
Yes, so they have departments depending on what you're looking to consign or buy. At that point in time, I started in the American Paintings department, and I was an intern there. Amazing experience. And then I moved over to the decorative arts side, and I was able to work for the head of the decorative arts division. So I was exposed to everything: American furniture, English furniture, French furniture, Art Nouveau, Art Deco. So when you hear that, you think of Louis Comfort Tiffany. I was exposed to the jewelry department, books, collectibles. I got to see it. I got to see it all. I remember when I was there, we had the Jackie Onassis sale. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go.
They had the Jackie Onassis sale when I was there. And I remember those pug pillows selling. And, I think it was the president's set of golf clubs. And I loved going to the evening sales, the contemporary or impressionist art evening sales. Everybody was in black tie, and you're bidding on Van Goghs and Cezannes, and the amounts of money people were spending on one painting. I mean, when you were there in the room and you just felt that sheer electricity, it was amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So you liked going to them? Was it mandatory that you had to go to actual auctions?
Nope, not mandatory, but always great. And I was so lucky. So I was more, while I worked on the expert side, I did more of the administrative duties. That being said, I was privy to go to every exhibition for every sale. So you could come into work and take your lunch hour and go look at the Impressionist exhibition for that month, or the contemporary, or the latest jewelry sale, or the American furniture sale. It was just so much right there, right at my feet. It was a great experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So do you have Antiques Roadshow? If you ever watched the Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah, totally. Kind of like Antiques Roadshow meets the Meekum car auction. I watched that, or used to watch that a lot.
Right, right.
Do you have, you named a bunch of contemporary, I don't know what the other words would be, but do you have any famous artists, maybe a modern artist, painter, famous name maybe, and then an older artist? Leonardo da Vinci, somebody else?
So personally, I wasn't quite into what we called the old masters. And I really grew fond I worked a lot with the American Furniture and Folk Art Department. And I really developed a deep appreciation for American folk art. I loved seeing the American folk art portraits. So, the husbands and the wives, or even their children, and, finding the provenance about the paintings and learning about their lives, and, how they came to America, or how they started their life in America. It just was a really great experience. But in general, I kind of favor the American arts.
And you said folk art. Is tramp art part of folk art?
Yes, absolutely. Tramp art is, yes.
I got a friend at church, also a client, also a second cousin, blah, blah, blah. He's, I don't know, 70 years old. In retirement, he's been making these little tramp art boxes. It's just got the little nicks around. It's very tedious. He sits there, does it, and he's made a million of these things. He made this little box, and his son, who makes jewelry and sells it online or something, was like, put it on Etsy for some crazy price. Because he wasn't even thinking about selling them or anything, but it was like, just do it. Let's see what happens. For like $500 or something, he sold this little box that took him maybe a couple hours or something. So now he makes these little things. Now he got commissioned. He's got this big dresser that some like a big designer in like Hollywood or something commissioned him to make it. It's probably getting a lot of money. So I've been telling everybody I know that makes crafty type of stuff, just ask a lot of money for it. There are people out there that want it. I know a guy that makes, now it's a tangent, a guy that makes climbing holds out of wood. There is competition, but there's no competition if you made it premium somehow. There's Silicon Valley people out there with tons of money, and they each have a climbing wall in their basement. And if the other dude has a custom set with his initials on it that's stained blue that you can't buy anywhere else, everybody would pay for that for sure. So you did all this art stuff in the Sotheby's. How did you transition or get to the real estate? Was there anything in between?
So yes, I ended my career at Sotheby's. I decided to move into my mom phase. So I was blessed and able to stop working for a while I raised my children. Thank God I was able to do that because when my son came along and was diagnosed, I was able to really focus on that, and that really did kind of become my next career. I have to say, Derek, I always was fascinated by real estate. I was the type of girl that on Sunday morning, the newspaper would come. It's Newsday is the Long Island newspaper here. And they used to have the real estate section, right? It was before all the online real estate sites. So Sunday, your newspaper would come, you take your real estate section out and you look through and you'd see, what came out this week and where it was listed and what it's listed at. And every Sunday, I couldn't wait to digest that and see what was happening. So I eventually went back to work, and I was working for an agency that provided services for special needs children. And I was feeling like two things. One, it wasn't fulfilling enough for me. I enjoyed it, but it's that time constraint that, 10 or 12-hour work days, not being able to be around for my son. It wasn't, I just knew in my gut, I wasn't taking the life path I was supposed to be on. Grateful for the opportunity, but this wasn't where I was supposed to be going. And I don't know why it hit me one day, finally saying, do what you love, be happy. I love real estate. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take that chance. I'm going to study for my exam. I'm going to jump into the business. And I'm kicking myself in the head for not doing it earlier because I wake up every day and I am so grateful for this opportunity. I love my job. It literally fills me up.
It's funny that you mentioned newspaper ads. We just stopped those at our firm. We've got a lot of old school people here. We just stopped those like a year ago, I think. But I was just thinking, I kind of want to start doing them again because it's probably wide open, nobody doing it. And we still do press releases. Every commercial deal, you can get warrants a press release, and they'll always put it in the paper, blank, leased 1,500 square feet, and they put it in the business section. So I'm glad you mentioned the newspaper ads. And I love that you mentioned to do what you love. So you took the plunge and you took action, and that's awesome. So what are you doing now mainly in your real estate business? Homes, right?
Correct. Residential. So I focus on residential. I live in a town called Bayshore. It's actually where I grew up on Long Island. It's located on the South Shore. And I say that I'm halfway out between New York City and the Hamptons. So while this is where I live and grew up, I have been expanding and serving clients all over Long Island. So all the way west into Queens, which is closer to New York City, and all the way further east. So
this is a great segue. You did it for me. I'm going to bring up the map here, and I'm going to actually zoom out. You can see that map, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So here's the planet. And for those of us that don't know geography, we're going to zoom in. New York is obviously over here on the eastern seaboard. And then here is Long Island, right off of New York City. So it's kind of an extension of New York City there, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
That's what that is right there. So everybody knows where it is, pretty obvious, but I just like to pull that map up so everybody definitely knows where it is. There are some places that I didn't know where it was, so I was like, I'm going to do this just for me to know where it is. So you cover all the island, you don't go off the island?
So I mostly do Long Island, right? So Queens, Suffolk County, and Nassau County, correct.
Okay, so all those places are also on that island.
Yes, yep. So while technically Queens is considered part of New York City, we do serve that area.
So Queens, so what was that movie? Coming to America, that happened on Long Island then.
I kind of remember that movie, but yes. So
it took place in Queens, I know that.
Yes.
Maybe not filmed there, but I don't know. But all right, well, let's talk about the weather there. You're kind of where we are, not too far from us, same kind of longitude or latitude or whichever one goes horizontally.
Right.
So we're pretty cloudy here. We have 4 seasons. We get snow in the winter. It also gets kind of disgustingly hot in the summer. But the springs and falls are really awesome. So tell everybody that might be outside of our areas what they might expect there.
Okay, great. So similar to Central PA, our summers can get really hot and really humid and muggy. Our winters can be super cold and we can get lots of snow, but our falls are beautiful, amazing, as well as our springs. Really interesting to note though. So, Long Island's an island. We are surrounded by water. So we have the benefit of amazing ocean breezes on the South Shore, and also great breezes off that Long Island Sound to the north.
And there's a lot of rain. Is it kind of like Florida and the coast? Every beach place I've been to, I feel like it's nice, but it will rain, but it doesn't rain for a long time. It'll come and it'll downpour for 10 minutes and then it'll be gone and be back to clear skies. Is it like that, or does stuff
I
sit over top of you?
I get what you're talking about. That kind of passing day or two in Florida. We don't have that here. No, it's a little bit more typical, like Pennsylvania. But something I do want to point out, really interesting. So way back when it was the ice age and we had the glaciers and we had the glacial melts, it did reach down to Long Island, to the North Shore of Long Island, right? And then it seceded or receded, excuse me. And so that led to a really diverse geography on Long Island. So on the North Shore, if you go to the North Shore, it feels really much more New Englandy. There's hills, and it's definitely more of a New England vibe. And then when you hit the middle of the island and go to the South Shore, it's definitely more flat and feels a little bit more beachy. So yeah, great. Thank you for bringing that map back up. So you can see, go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah, so you can see kind of on that northern part, once you could see that yellow line running through, which we call the LIE, which kind of runs through the middle of the island. That's kind of the dividing line, and then go another quarter up there, and that's kind of where you get those hills starting.
And what's this little ridge on the south, and it looks like a ridge of islands, kind of like a little barrier? That's natural stuff, I'm assuming. This isn't Dubai, so they didn't build a bunch of islands along here.
Correct. That is natural. That is known as Fire Island, or the Fire Island National Seashore. I actually live really close by. If you can see that bridge, if you go over to the west a little bit, that is Fire Island. It runs east to west along our south coast. Right. And then that highway right there, that bridge that runs up and down, that connects us, Long Island South Shore, to Fire Island. I live right on the other side of that bridge. I can be at that beach in about 3 minutes in the summer. It's amazing. Robert
What's
Moses
your address?
Beach.
I'm kidding.
Come on out. I'll take you to the beach.
These days, I could probably zoom in and you could walk outside and wave to us.
Absolutely. Robert Moses Beach voted one of the top beaches in the country, time and time again. So interesting fact here. Yep, you can take ferries over to Fire Island. There's no cars on Fire Island. You can park at the state parks and go to the beach. And then further east, it's all private or semi-private communities, and you take ferries over there and you can walk from that bay to the beach. In between, you'll see that great South Bay. It's a beautiful coastline to live along, great fishing, boating. It's just, we're so lucky to live on the South Shore. I'm a little partial to the South Shore because I live down here.
Huh. So is there like a South Shore versus North Shore kind of thing? Here we have the Susquehanna River, and it's East Shore versus West Shore, and this like clash. Not really anymore, but I mean, it was like an actual thing for a while. How is it there with the two shores?
Absolutely, it's the same. There's definitely competition, boating, swim teams swimming against each other. One of the big swimming events here is the North-South meet. So, all the swimmers on the South Shore swim against all the swimmers on the North Shore. It's a great event. Again, a lot of sailing competitions, right? High school sports, college sports, even, competition, but great camaraderie as well. But at the end of the day, we are all Long Island strong.
Exactly. That's how we're all Central PA strong here as well. So are there hurricanes? You're surrounded by water pretty much, and you're on the coast. So are there hurricanes? Do you get hit pretty hard?
Yes, we do get hurricanes. Every couple of seasons we'll get hit. The last one was Sandy we had. Don't know when we're due for another one. There's so much more information that we have now about hurricanes and flooding and how to protect our homes. So, if you're a person who wants to live on the water, it is doable. I mean, clearly on Long Island, there's tons of options for you. And it's really doable. There's a lot of programs and protections for your home to make that possible.
And is it mostly flat there, or are there any hills?
Yep. So South Shore seems to be typically more flat, and that North Shore, you're going to find those rolling hills.
And you have like trees, like you have woods, or is it like beach place? Is it like here with trees and actual like oaks and evergreens and that kind of stuff? Or is it like the low-lying Florida beach stuff?
So this is what I love about Long Island. Yes, we have it all. We've got great parks, great trees, Great places to go walking and biking and cycling, and we have lots of hills. We don't have mountains. We don't have any ski mountains. But then, if you want the beach, you head to the South Shore, and you've got that beach right there. The barrier beaches on Fire Island. We've got a great place to go see concerts, Jones Beach Theater. I don't know what a mangrove is.
Those are those, like, if you went on a kayaking trip through like the little islands in Florida, there's these little kind of like bush plants and you see their like roots coming out. Those are called the mangrove forests or something like that. That's all I think of when I think of places similar to that. But
I'm not sure if we have those, but if you are a kayaker, yes, there's tons of nature preserves, lots of cozy places on Long Island to go kayaking or paddleboarding. As I was saying before, Jones Beach Theater, great place to see concerts right on the water on the South Shore. Really whatever you're into. Winter sports here, we have it. Summer sports here, we have it. Hiking in the fall, it's just amazing. If you want the city, you can be there within an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. If you want the beach, you could be there anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes or 5 minutes if you live close by. You want to go out to the Hamptons, you want to go to the wineries, where do you want to go? You have access to 3 major airports, beaches, shopping. It's just incredible.
That's good. You said you could get everybody everywhere within a certain amount of time. So does everybody live and work on the island, or do people go to the city, or how does that work? And maybe we're looking at this island, but I have no sense of time. How long would it take to drive from like one side of the island to the other, to give everybody a sense of how big it is? Here in Central PA, we know if you ask us how far is something, I've heard other states will tell you how many miles. Here, we're going to tell you how long it takes to get there. It could be 1 mile, but if it takes an hour to get there, I'm going to tell you an hour. So
exactly.
How long?
Same thing here. So I would say to get from New York City out to Montauk, you're looking at, let's say there's no traffic, you're looking at 3 hours, like really good traffic. Definitely longer with traffic. Now North Shore to South Shore, depending on, where you're going, you're probably looking at half an hour or, maybe 45 minutes.
And do most people work on the island?
So I feel like we've been seeing the shift, and I wonder if you're seeing the same too. There was a large majority of people who worked in New York City, right? We can all commute there so easily. You could hop on a train or potentially drive to the city. And I think after the pandemic, we all got creative. We all figured out ways to work remotely. And, so I think that there's less people commuting and more people are working locally, working at home. And I don't see that changing for a while. So that's had a huge impact on real estate on Long Island. People want to live here. They also can work here. Besides New York City, I don't want to downplay there is great opportunity on Long Island for work. There are many different industries. It's really varied. So lots of opportunity here.
Yeah, that's great. The shift is great for Long Island, especially since it's a finite island. So it's not like Central PA where we could just keep absorbing farms because we don't need all the corn that we're growing. I won't get into that. We can just keep absorbing farms. We're on Long Island. There's a limit. And if people are moving in, then prices are going to go up. So it's great. Correct. For the market there, obviously not so great for the city, I guess. And you started going into the major industries and stuff. I'm assuming that most of Long Island is powered by, kind of the runoff or it comes out from the city. And most stuff in some way is related to the city. Even if you work on Long Island, it somehow is supporting stuff that happens in the city that is supported by yada, yada. Is there tourism too?
Yes, so tons of tourism on Long Island. As I mentioned, our beaches, a huge tourist spot is Montauk, which is at the end of the island. That is one of my favorite places to go. We have great wineries. And let's not forget all the shopping that we have here on Long Island. Our restaurant industry is amazing. You name it. Think about that industry. We have it here. Financial sector. Hospitality. You can't beat the healthcare industry on Long Island. We have fantastic healthcare. So, whatever your line of work is, or whatever you want your line of work to become. If you're thinking about moving to Long Island, this is a great place to start or restart, and grow and be happy.
Are there any colleges? Is there like a Long Island community college or anything?
There are tons of universities on Long Island. So not only great educational opportunities, but also they're great places to work as well. My older son attends Hofstra University. He's studying theater there. They have a medical school. They have a law school, huge. Adelphi University, Malloy. I mean, we can't forget the SUNY schools, Stony Brook University. I mean, I could just go on and on and on, all the different schools. So.
And you mentioned a good medical system. Would your go-to hospital, if you were having a baby or something, would you go to like the Long Island Hospital or whatever it's called? Or would people choose to go to like the New York City one or some other one somewhere?
Great question. And you know what? If your doctor's in New York City and you want to go to New York City, you totally can do that. Actually, I delivered my babies in New York City and it was easy breezy. That being said, it's not, do you go to Long Island Hospital? It's which one? There are so many, and we have so many wonderful providers. So a lot of times when parents are picking doctors for their children, or you're finding maybe doctors for your parents who are elderly or for yourself, you have these opportunities. You want to go and meet the doctors and speak to them and interview them, and then pick who you feel comfortable with. So the reality is there are lots of options, and options are good.
And now it is great. We got a lot of option here. It seems like all the options they're expanding, but they're also the people that own, like it used to be 12 entities that owned or operated or whatever, and now it's kind of Penn State's absorbing most of it, and then a couple other health systems, and that's happening everywhere, and the private practice doctors going away, all that kind of stuff. But so let's talk about what there is to do there. You started talking about you can reach lots of stuff by driving. What can people do right on the island? Obviously, you can talk about the water sports and all that kind of stuff again, or whatever you want to tell us.
Yep. So boating, tons of boating opportunities, swimming, sailing, beaches. Let's see, what else you're interested. If you're a food and wine fanatic, I mean, we have top restaurants on Long Island all over. And as I mentioned before, wineries as well. If you're interested in hiking or biking, we have tons of hiking and biking trails, cycling trails. In fact, they just opened a new cycling trail on the South Shore near me, where you ride right along the Ocean Parkway. It's a beautiful trail to ride on. Fishing. Oh, I haven't mentioned the fishing. Oh my gosh, there's tons of fishing.
I just wrote it down, so I will scratch it off.
How about golf? Do you play golf? We have amazing golf courses, right? We've got Bethpage Black, where they have the Open. What else? I mean, the Hamptons are just an amazing experience. And then all our cozy, cute towns on the North Fork out on the East End. One of my favorite.
Did you say surfing?
Tons of surfing. Yep. We've got great surfers on Long Island. Absolutely. I never
thought about it before. I've never zoomed in and examined Long Island. So, I mean, now that you're explaining everything, I guess it makes sense. Are there good waves, big waves, or is it kind of like Jersey waves?
We got great waves. So not too far from New York City. Okay, so technically it's Brooklyn, but still connected to Long Island. We have Rockaway Beach. That's where my dad's family hails from. World famous waves there, great surfers, and then go all the way out, follow that shore, all the way out, great waves. And then again, when you get to the end and you hit Montauk, there's a famous place called Ditch Plains, where lots of surfers go as well.
Huh. So if you were a northerner and wanted to get good at surfing, you don't necessarily have to go to Hawaii, or I don't even know, California, Hawaii. Those are the other two places that would come to mind. I've been to Florida. Places I've been didn't have no waves, so I would rather surf in Jersey than Florida, as far as I could see. So what about a driving vacation? What would be the go-to driving vacation? We always go to Jersey. The Jersey Shore is pretty much what everybody from Pennsylvania goes to.
Okay.
Carolinas are getting more popular, and people go other places, obviously. But if somebody asked the number one go-to driving vacation, I would say it was the Jersey Shore. What would it be there?
I think out here you're going to talk about the North Fork and the South Fork. And so what that means is at the end of Long Island, it kind of splits off into two. It's almost kind of like the mouth of an alligator open. Yeah, at the end there, right? So that South Shore, the bottom part on your screen, that's going to be where you'll drive out to the Hamptons. So you'll have West Hampton, Southampton, East Hampton, Amagansett, and again, all the way out to Montauk at the end. In between is Shelter Island. That's another great place to go to. And then on that North Fork there, again, while it's beachy, it feels a little bit more New Englandy, quaint towns, and those have great activities along that Peconic Bay, that water in between the North and the South Fork, and great wineries up there as well.
Huh. So this is the Hamptons that people hear about.
That's the Hamptons. That's right.
There you go. I kind of knew that, but I never thought about it. And I'm sure there's lots of people that have no idea and hear that all the time. The Hamptons, we're going up to the Hamptons, the Hamptons.
That's right.
And for some reason in my head for a long time, I thought it was way more up in like Massachusetts or something, and now it makes sense that people from the city or something would just go right out here to Long Island, pretty close and cool there. So
yeah,
that's
you could
cool.
do an easy breezy day trip out there. I love going out there in the fall to get my pumpkins and mums, etc.
And then is this Fisher's Island? Is that part of Long Island?
So Fisher's Island, right? So that's in the Sound, and that's between the South Shore of Connecticut and Long Island.
Huh.
And you
Are
can
there
actually,
ferries? How close is Connecticut there if somebody was coming from like New London or whatever's there over?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. There's a couple of ferries you could take that brings you between Long Island and Connecticut. So there's one in Port Jefferson, which is a great port town on the North Shore. Great shopping, great village, restaurants. And then all the way at the end of the tip on the North Fork. So the South Fork has Montauk at the end. On the North Fork on the end is Orient. And that ferry will take you across to New London. So that's a great way to get to Connecticut, Massachusetts. If you want to go visit Newport in Rhode Island, that's a great way to get there.
If someone like me wanted to take a driving vacation there and wanted to stay at an Airbnb and get some kind of outdoorsness, where would you point me?
I'd tell you to go to the North Fork, maybe around Jamesport or Southold, and book a B&B there. Bring your bicycle out. You want to book dinner at the North Fork Table and Inn. Tons of great wineries around there. You could do a winery tour. Greenport has great restaurants as well. You could go all over Greenport. You definitely need, a couple of days there to check it out.
And do people, if people vacation in Long Island or in the Hamptons or something, is a day's trip to driving to New York City to check that out and all the sites and everything, is that common?
That's doable. Yep. If you're here, you're going to do a couple days on Long Island and you want to zip to the city, that's definitely doable as well. Don't forget, you could get to the city via the Long Island Railroad. So you can leave your car at home, hop on that train, let the train take you there. There's plenty of trains running in and out. And also easy breezy, it connects you to Amtrak. So if you wanted to travel to Long Island that way by train, right, you could take your train back to the city, hop on your Amtrak, and then head out back to Pennsylvania.
Huh. I wonder, we have Amtrak here, and I know it might go there and all the way. Although it's cheaper to fly if you go that almost. The train is not as cheap. Even the buses. I not long ago, a couple years ago, I think I just looked for the heck of it to see if it would be cheaper. Or I thought Amtrak, that might be kind of fun. You sit on Amtrak. Try a little longer. It's like a rail trip. And it was like, no, that's not even worth it. I'll just fly or whatever. So that's funny. So, or actually, where would you fly from if you were going to fly? Is there an airport in Long Island, or are you going to, what is it, JFK?
So there's JFK, which is on the South Shore, easy to get to. There is LaGuardia Airport, which is more on the North Shore in Queens. And then out here on Long Island, we have a great regional airport. It's Islip MacArthur Airport. It's in a town known as Ronkonkoma. Where I am, I can get there in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It is a well-kept secret, which will probably be a secret no longer. Southwest runs flights in and out of there. Great way to get to Orlando, Florida. They have some great commuter flights as well to different cities on the East Coast. They used to have a great Chicago trip as well. I'm not sure if that's still running. But it's the town of Islip who runs that airport has put a ton of energy and resources into refurbishing and revitalizing that airport. And it's just a great resource for Long Islanders and those who want to come here and visit.
Yeah, that's great to have at least a couple options. We have the Harrisburg International Airport, which is kind of the same deal. It's pretty good, and you can get most places, and that would be my go-to. If I can get a flight for the right price right from there, 20 minutes from me, I'll definitely take it. But then we have JFK and Washington and Philly and other one. Baltimore is mine of choice if I can't go to ours. Yeah. Festivals and like First Friday things and street fairs and like holiday fireworks, you have all that kind of thing?
Yes. So each town has a ton of their seasonal festivities. So in the summer, there's a lot of summer fests. Every town will have a great arts and crafts fair kind of on their main street. Especially hot on Long Island, they'll do Thursday nights. They'll close down their main streets in lots of towns, and the restaurants will put tables out, and they'll have bands and some beer, and neighbors and families can just get together and walk around and relax, enjoy the weather. Right in the fall, we have lots of craft fairs, and then the same thing for the holiday season. And in the winter, right, we're really just focusing on our winter sports, our cross-country skiing or ice skating, right? Lots of places to play hockey, and we're trying to stay warm and enjoy our hot cocoa. With a little something in there.
And then what about, I heard you say there was a shopping area or like a well-known shopping area or something. How's the shopping? And
so
is there an area?
Your pick, Derek Bicksler. I mean, if you want to shop, like this is the Mecca, Long Island. So on the North Shore of Manhasset, there's a famous shopping center called the Miracle Mile. You'll probably recognize that from one of Billy Joel's songs. Actually, Billy Joel, right? Great Long Island resident from Oyster Bay.
I did not know that.
Yes, absolutely. And we got a couple, but we'll save that for another meetup. So lots of outlets, so sprinkled all over the Long Island. So on your way out, I know there's one near me in a town called Deer Park. It's Hanger Outlets. So you can get great shopping done at a discount. So Vineyard Vine, Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, Kate Spade, you name it, it's there. And then further out east, Riverhead has great shoppings. But listen, I don't want to discount our main street, our towns. Our towns on Long Island are our glue. All of them have just come alive. They're reverberating. Pick a town that you want. There are main streets to go through. We shop our local vendors here. We are very dedicated to our local vendors. They have gotten us through the pandemic. Most vendors in our towns on Long Island, especially where I live, have been here through the decades. So Long Islanders really appreciate and support our local stores.
Yeah, and we encourage everybody here in Central PA to support local as well. And the food's usually better at those little places, I usually find, which is not to say the big places can't be good too, but I usually find the good stuff there. What about, we're going to move to what people can get for the money here quick. I told you we'd be in a rush like every single episode, but first I want to ask you for concerts, and like if somebody wants to see a big name like Justin Bieber or something, where's the go-to concert stadium place?
Okay, so concerts, definitely in the warmer months, you want to go to Jones Beach Theater, which is right on the water, right on the ocean. It is an experience. The Coliseum sometimes has some good concerts, but pretty much you're heading into like the Barclays Center or New York City. You hop on that train. You don't have to worry about driving. So you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the experience.
Did you see Hamilton?
I did not see Hamilton. I feel like I'm the only person that didn't see Hamilton.
I saw it. I would not. My exes, they got tickets. We went, and I'm not amused. I almost fell asleep. I could care. Like,
oh no!
Everybody's like, it was oversold for me. It was like watching Zach Morris rap is how it felt like to me. Like I don't when like the people that I don't and other people have written rap plays before and nobody said anything. So I won't get on my soapbox, but
All right.
I was the one person in history
You
that was
didn't like it?
underwhelmed by it. Or maybe it was just because I was salty or something. But
No, I'm
anyway.
a dear Evan Hansen fan. That had a profound impact on my life. That show. I don't know if you saw that, but if you
No.
haven't seen it, definitely go see it.
I will. I have to write it down.
Yep.
So, what do people get for the money here? There.
Yes.
Here, they get, we're probably used to be lower. I'd say like 300 ish gets you kind of like that entry level white picket fence. You might be able to get into that for maybe 250. Like a little
Okay.
3-bed ranch used to be 200,000. You could get into that. Maybe a 1-car garage on a 0.2 acre, but now that has moved up to probably like the 250, and even like 300-ish is going to get you the 2-story with maybe a 2-car garage. So I'd say 300 is probably like the entry level to the American dream home. What would it be there?
Okay, so Long Island, we have definitely seen a shift since the pandemic. So your starter, your entry home, you're probably looking more at something starting with a 4. And that could be a 2-bedroom, definitely a 3-bedroom, but some 2-bedrooms we are seeing starting in the 4s. There is serious competition. And you're going to want to look at it. Nassau and Queens prices generally run higher. So the closer to New York City you are, because you have that great commute, that's typically you will see a little bit higher prices. As you start moving eastward, so through Nassau County into Suffolk County, you'll see a little easing of prices. And then again, once you hit the Hamptons, prices are going up. But in general, yeah. So entry level, I would say plan on the 4s. And then your step ups, you're looking at a 6s and 7s, but really diverse, right? All along our shores, you're going to see, the houses ranging from 5s to in the millions.
And is everything older because there is no more, so it's all been built out, so pretty much all the inventory are resales, or is there still new construction?
Great question. So farther out east you go, there's more land and there is some new construction happening. If you're thinking about Nassau County, again, closer to New York City, it is mostly built up. But that being said, there are new construction homes being built. Inventory is tight here, I'm sure, like it is in Pennsylvania. But I want to make sure people know that's not to discourage them. It just means that we have to, be aware of the challenges and be able to work around them. But you definitely can get a home. Mortgage rates are still low, so achieving your home dream of living on Long Island, it's doable. It's definitely doable.
And how old, like in your downtowns where the older inventory is, how old are those here where like 1900, 1920 kind of would be the age of the stuff in the little downtowns and stuff? What are you looking at there? And do they have basements? I feel like they wouldn't there for some reason, but you are north like us, so.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of homes on Long Island have basements. Some of them are more like cellars. So the older homes, in fact, I grew up in a house that was built in 1868, 1869. Really old house, had a big old cellar. So yeah, most homes do have basements. Not all of them, but I think compared to the rest of the country, yes, we do. Keep in mind for Long Island, we are really diverse, just as diverse as the geography is. The types of housing that we have is diverse as well. So we have some really old historic homes. We have beautiful new homes, and homes from the 20s and 40s. And when I say old, I'm talking about 1890s. Especially all our towns along the ports, along the shores, right in the North Shore. We have those old historical whaling cities, whaling towns. When Long Island was first settled way back when. And the South Shore as well, all our fishing towns.
And you mentioned Nassau and Queens in particular, for some reason, I feel like, or I know nothing about it, but has it been gentrified recently, or has stuff on Long Island in general been gentrified over time? Because like I said, in Coming to America, the movie, Queens was played as like this probably at the bottom place. So tell us a little bit about what goes on there as far as that goes.
So great question. Another great question. And one of the things that I love about Long Island is it is so diverse. So Queens is fantastic. All different sections and neighborhoods. of people living there, all different backgrounds. And same thing with Brooklyn. Queens and Brooklyn are exploding. They're coming alive. Great place to live. Even spending the day. Love taking a trip to Brooklyn just to spend the day, or Queens. And then same thing with Nassau and Suffolk. We all love Long Island. We all share this land together. And we live with each other, near each other. We learn from each other. So diversity is definitely the key. But no, Queens and Brooklyn are hot. They're awesome.
And are they really, are they like Portland? Are they like really crunchy? That I use that term a lot. Or are they, what's it like there?
I wouldn't say crunchy. I feel like Queens and Brooklyn, those we're seeing like greatly increased pricing. It's kind of like the hot places to live. Even people who are in New York City who maybe don't want to be in the city anymore and want a little bit of a suburby type of feel, but still be close to the city. They're moving to Queens and Brooklyn. Young families starting out. Great place to raise kids in Queens and Brooklyn. Family oriented, but also for single people too. So there's lots to explore. I mean, the arts in Queens and Brooklyn, fantastic. Museums, outlets for science. It's just incredible.
And then if somebody, before we move on, because we are over the hour limit, but as I told you before, we can go a slight bit past it now that we're not uploading to IG anymore, but it's not your fault. I'm the one that's supposed to be pacing this thing. So before we move on, what, if somebody had that couple $1 million, what does that get you? Can you spend that in the downtowns and also on a big beach house?
Absolutely. So, if I speak with a buyer who's looking for a higher end home, my first question is, well, what do you want? Do you want to live near the beach? Would you rather be on the Long Island Sound or close to the Sound on that North Shore where it's a little bit hilly and you have lots of privacy and a big lot of land? Or are you looking for a brownstone in Brooklyn where you're kind of a hot happening vibe and you're close to New York City?
Great answer. And now I will keep it moving. And obviously you guys could reach out to Megan if you need any other questions answered about what it's like. And I'm sure if people are moving from way far away, maybe you'd be able to help them. And I always recommend maybe you get an Airbnb or you get a rental for a few months and figure out exactly where you actually want to be. Yeah. North Shore or South Shore.
Right.
Or the tip out at the Fork is where I would be, I think, now that we've listened to this episode. But now I'm going to ask you something that has nothing to do with real estate. What would you like to be other than real estate? If you could do anything else, what would you do?
Okay, tough question. I think I'm stuck between two choices. One is I would be a teacher. Definitely would have been a teacher teaching probably younger children. And two, if I could go back, I might have been an attorney. That would have helped me.
Both seem like professions that would translate well. The two of them mixed together makes like the perfect real estate agent, actually.
Absolutely.
Totally. Yeah. Don't they always say teachers and police officers make great real estate agents?
Is that true? Okay. Yep.
I think so. They're both good at reading people and getting people to go along with what they're doing and being diplomatic about it and being in a very conscientious, diligent, compassionate way. So yeah, I think that's like a thing that teachers and police officers are supposed to be good real estate agents. So totally makes sense.
You want to have a really good instinct. You want to be able to connect with people and be able to communicate openly and honestly and understand what it is that they're looking for and what are your goals, and you're there to guide them and help them achieve it.
For sure. And if you guys need somebody to guide you and help you achieve your real estate goals or your moving goals or whatever it is, you can reach out to Megan. And also, if you have any questions about autism or how to deal with that or anything like that, reach out to her. And I'm going to let you read your information aloud so that people that might be listening later can get it and write it down. So read it aloud for everybody.
Okay, great. This is Megan Gardner. I am reachable at MeganGardner@gmail.com. MeganGardnerHomes.com is my website, and my cell phone is 631-255-3878. And I'm just going to, recorrect my email address. It's MeganGardnerHomes@gmail.com. But no worries. There's many different ways you can reach me, and it's all good.
Did we even proofread that? I don't. Well, it'll be
That's
right in the
okay.
description where that is.
Megan
Megan
Gardner
Gardner.
Homes. Right, MeganGardnerHomes.com. Listen, there's so many ways we can connect with each other these days, right? You can find me on social media. You can, reach out to me through my website, my cell phone. I'm on, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, you name it, I'm there. So we'll find. If we're
And
meant
all
to find
them
each
links
other,
will
we're gonna
be
find
in
each
the
other.
description too.
Yeah.
So people just click and find her. And I just thought of something. I don't know how I didn't think of this before.
Okay.
Isn't the Long Island Medium? Isn't that a show?
Yes, Teresa Caputo. She's
And you like that stuff too.
Yeah, I do. I really do. Every once in a while, like I get a few messages. If you ever want to let me practice on you, Derek, let me know.
We should have a clubhouse room. That would be fun. A real estate all day room for it. That would be cool. Well, so everybody, you know who to contact if you need a reading or need to learn about autism, or if you need to buy or sell a home in Long Island. You can call me, and if you need to buy or sell here, and then I'll send you over to Megan. You can call, text, and email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you later. Say goodbye, Megan.
Goodbye. Thanks so much. Great to connect.